So, folks, it is my great honor to introduce Sebastien Centner, the creative force behind Entertainment, Hospitality, and Special Events. And as the creative director, Sebastien has elevated Entertainment to one of Canada's premier event and catering companies, earning the accolade of Caterer of the Year. His impressive portfolio includes orchestrating events for high-profile clients like Red Bull, TIFF, Hugo Boss, BMW, and Porsche. Sebastien's expertise extends to hosting events for renowned personalities such as Martha Stewart, President Bill Clinton, and Brad Pitt. Yes, I said Brad Pitt. His ability to manage every detail of complex events has established him as a global, entertaining expert and cherished media personality. Please join me with a huge, warm welcome, Mr. Sebastien Centner.
Welcome, everybody. Everybody having a good Monday? Excellent. I mean, given it is the busiest time of the year, I'm sure all of us should be in our offices doing something or other, but it's nice to get a Monday morning off to have a glass of rosé and a little bit of brunch. So welcome, everybody. First of all, I want to thank everybody for being here today. I know a lot of people before me have thanked you as well. And to me, it certainly is not lost on me, and I'm sure it's not lost on any of you, that it's because of everybody in this room that we have the ability to support things like CSE, and the fact that Stacy and Jason have been doing this for over 20 years, they couldn't do it if all of us didn't support them. So thank you for being here to support. And of course, thank you to Jason and Stacy for having me today. I hope they don't live to regret it. But we're going to get started. One of the things I want to do, first of all, that was a wonderful introduction Anthony gave me. Thank you, by the way. I'm a little bit humbled by it. I haven't done an event for either of those three people in a very long time, but I would welcome the opportunity to do it again. But most importantly, what we do and how we do it is not just thanks to me. Actually, I play a small part in it. I may have started it, but it's the team that I work with. And today I want to acknowledge those people. I'm sure all of you guys have teams, whether that team is 3 people or 300 people. They're the ones who really bring these things to life. And my team, Entertainment, is right here today. So huge round of applause for those guys. And they're going to hate this, but I'm actually going to get them to stand up for a second because, stand up, come on guys. So we've got Victoria, Corey, Mealy, Jackie, Chris, and Liz. And this is a small part of our team, thank you guys, but this is a job we couldn't do on our own, and I want to thank them because they deserve at least as much of the credit, most days more of the credit than I do. So thanks for being here. I also want to thank everybody in the industry who may not be here today, but who came before us. I've been in the industry now for a while, but the people that came before me were the ones who are willing to share their experiences, some of their knowledge, some of the lessons that they learned. And many of the opportunities that have come my way is thanks to those people, whether it was the first event planner that gave us that catering gig, or whether it was, Anne at Exclusive years and years ago. How I'm sure most of you guys remember Anne. And there we go. She deserves it. She's not even here and not even in the industry, but she deserves. And Anne calling you the night before your 400-person cocktail party and saying, hey, your rental order is going out. It'll be on time. Do you think you're going to need any gallery trays with that order? And all of a sudden you're like, yeah, maybe. and she taught us how to do rental orders. Well, it's people like that that made this industry great, and who we have to now follow in their footsteps and share with the next generation of people that are coming into this industry all of those lessons that we learned. So, a huge thank you to all those people. So, now let's get into it. When Stacy, Jason, and I were talking about different topics for today, we had a lot of different ideas. We bounced between 3 top options. The first was to talk a bit about my path in the industry the last 20 years. Certainly couldn't talk about that for 25 minutes, and I think the intro was more than enough, but that was one topic. Second topic was talking about trends, what's coming down the pipe. And the third topic was talking about challenges. But we couldn't pick. We were debating it back and forth, so we decided let's bundle them all together into one keynote. And I'm going to try and do that in the 25 minutes or the 21 minutes and 43 seconds that I have left, or maybe hopefully a little bit less than that. So here we go. So first of all, entertainment, 20 years ago. It was actually 25 years ago, and here I am, Fashion Cares, 2004. So this was exactly 20 years ago. I look like I'm about 12 years old. I felt like I was about 12 years old. I'm there with Sheila, my wife, and a good friend of ours, Christopher Grimston. And back then, this is me first in the industry. Like, I was young, I was excited, and now I'm old and excited, or kind of old and excited. So, and there's 2006, the Don Jail. Again, I look like a teenager, no gray hair. The gray hair came from being 20 years in this business, as many of you know. But we fell into this business in a funny sort of way. We're in the restaurant business. And one of our regular customers said to me, he goes, "Hey, my daughter just got engaged. She's getting married. We got that covered. But I really want to do an engagement party at my house for 50 people. And I thought to myself, well, we got food in the fridge. We got chefs in the kitchen. We got servers running all over the place. And we got glassware and stuff. So, how hard can it be? Let's just put it all in a truck and, go to his house." And that was the first mistake I made of many over the last 25 years, each of which I've hopefully learned from. And, in the hospitality business, probably many of you come from the hospitality business, the restaurant business, et cetera. We know that, we open up our restaurant in the morning, and if we run out of something, if a supplier doesn't deliver us a product, if something oversells, whatever, we do something called 86ing an item. It's off the menu for the day. Big deal. You got 15 other items people can choose from. Well, whether it is the restaurant business or a lot of other businesses, those are businesses that you can prepare for, and that you have backup plans and you've got all these resources and stuff. But in our case, we unfortunately don't always have that luxury. So one of the first lessons that I learned was, and the foundation of still everything we do today, is that nothing replaces good planning. And the better organized we are, chances are the better execution we're going to create, and the more likely we are to succeed. And one of the things, that analogy, I was thinking about this the other day, kind of equate it to going to a desert island. Okay? We know where we're going. We know, we're going to serve 100 people dinner or do whatever we're going to do on that island, et cetera. So we know a lot of the parameters, but at the end of the day, once we go, we're gone. There's no calling up Allison and saying, "Hey, Allison, I need 10 extra plates," and not that anybody would call Allison directly, but if you want her cell phone, I have it. But they are there to support us. But frankly, we're on our own at that point, 99%. Whether it's event planners or whether it's caterers, you can run out and do little things, but the planning makes all the difference. And we do this on an island, in a vacuum. So kudos to all of us. And the fact is that it remains true today that the better organized we are, the better job we're going to do for our clients. And that's something that we talk about every day. My team reinforces with me, I reinforce with them, and it's at every single level of our business. So that was my first lesson. Little story also about that, in terms of organization. We're a very close team at Entertainment. We treat each other like family. That goes really well some days and less well other days, as anybody who works with family knows. But I do have a quick story. So one of my team, Corey, our director of events and catering, and she's cringing right now. What story am I going to tell? Yeah? Corey has this tradition that January 1, she puts a new notebook on everybody's desk in the company. I don't know where she gets them. They always have a saying on them, and they're never the same saying. She's been doing this for at least 2 or 3 years now. And this year I got a notebook. I haven't used it yet because I literally do not want to use it. I want to just keep it and safeguard it. And on the cover of this notebook, it has a quote that I think epitomizes me, but it epitomizes our entire industry. And it says, "Don't worry, I have a spreadsheet for that." And that's the case. We actually have to organize everything. And I love it. It's not easy to do, but we do it day in and day out, and we love what we do. So also, thanks to all of us, we're constantly raising the bar. We're always looking for new ways to make things innovative and interesting, et cetera. And that's not an easy task. That's constantly pushing us and challenging us. But this is a business you gotta love to be in. And I think because it's so creative and because we're always pushing the envelope, that's why we love it so much. Not every day, but most days. And few businesses are like ours, where every day you get to do something different, or at least every week. We're doing different events, different styles, different locations, different clients. That's something really, really valuable that I don't think we always appreciate versus going in and doing the same thing day in and day out. And to me, that's been one of the biggest reasons why I love this business. And it's had a tremendous impact on my career and why I still love it, 25 years later. This creativity, it basically fuels my passion to do a better job, to do something new, to create new events, et cetera. And same thing with my team. I think we get that chance and that satisfaction. I've also had the amazing privilege over the last 20 years to work with a ton of amazing people, many of whom have helped us do the things that we've done. We've traveled for events, we've done events, global events of all sizes. Each one of these events, we have to remember one fundamental thing. Whether it's a wedding for 20 people in our own backyard, or whether it's the Red Bull Air Races in New York City. The fact is, for that client, at that moment, that is the most important event in the world. And it's something that when early in the business, you'd look at it, and many of you know, planning an event for 20 people, or 100 people, or 500 people is probably about the same amount of work. And we have to remain not jaded that we're only looking for those big jobs or that we give them more importance, because every one of those events is very important, is the most important event to that client. And that means that, for us, it has to be our most important event, and that's a lot of pressure. Tons of pressure, tons of responsibility. I've had nights I've woken up, from nightmares about a tenting permit not coming through for $1 million wedding 6 weeks before the wedding, of a liquor partner bailing on us for the Red Bull Air Races in New York for 100,000 people, for an event we did in for BMW in Istanbul that our cars got stopped in customs. Well, the reality is, all three of those things actually happened, and many, many more. We've always had challenges. But guess what? My takeaway is, we've always found a solution. And that's hard to see when you're in the moment. And chances are my team are all rolling their eyes. They're like, we're going to remind you of that next week when you think it's the end of the world, when X happens or Y happens. But at the end of the day, back to the planning. We put the planning time in, then we'll deal with everything that we should have dealt with, so we have time to deal with the challenges or the curveballs that get thrown our ways. And my message to you guys is to try and remember that. And it's taken me 25 years to remember it, and I don't remember it all the time. But whatever the challenges are, you've got this. You're going to find a solution. Your event's going to be a success. You're going to learn from it, and you're going to go on. So that's a little bit about what I've learned in the last 25 years. I'm sure I'll learn a few lessons today about how to give a keynote. And next, we're going to move on to industry trends and challenges. So when we started talking about industry trends, or when I started thinking about industry trends, I had a really long list of trends that we could talk about. The impact of technology on the guest experience, and just on event management in general. We could talk about some of the importances about, or the raised importance about personalization and unique events. We can talk about menu development and costing and things of that sort, all the new developments there. And when it came to challenges, which was the other thing we're going to talk about, well, I think I don't have to tell anybody in this room, that's a very, very, very long list in the event industry. We can talk about, the uncertainties we face, whether it's the economy, whether it's, shorter lead times, which all of us obviously hate, but they're now the new norm, whether it's risk management, which before the pandemic meant something very different to us. Risk management before was make sure that you got your liquor service organized and that your permits are in place, et cetera. Now it's a whole different animal, and also rising costs. So these challenges go on and on and on. But in the end, instead of focusing on industry challenges or industry trends, I thought I would group them together and focus on three. And the reason I'm grouping them together is because I believe that they're impossibly intertwined. And to tackle what are the biggest challenges and opportunities that we have in front of us, we've got to look at what they might be and how we can take advantage of them. Quick story about challenges. I never used the word challenges up until a few years ago. It's a great word. I love that word now. The reason I love that word is because I used to use the word problem. My wife, she has heard me say thousands of times, the problem we have, or my problem is, or whatever it is with problem. And she kept interrupting me and saying, don't use the word problem. Use the word challenge. The challenge you have. And she corrected me over and over and over again. And the fact is that even today now, my kids use the word challenge. They don't use the word problem. And why? What's the difference? Because the problem is the situation. And the challenge is the response that we have to it. If we ignore the problem, it gets worse. If we overcome the challenge, things get better. And that's really, really important. So let's talk about what I think are the challenges, but also the opportunities that are coming up, and there's 3 of them. First one, this is probably one of the most overused words lately, so I apologize. AI, okay? You can roll your eyes, you can say, oh my God, we've heard so much about it. Well, the fact is, whether you love it, if you hate it, if you're afraid of it, it's probably going to be the biggest factor to change our jobs in the next decade plus. It's going to affect all of us. For us, caterers, it's going to affect food costing, it's going to affect purchasing, labor management. All of those things will change and get easier to manage with AI. For outside the kitchen, anybody who's in the event planning world, it's going to be even bigger a change, right? Our workforce is getting younger. They understand how to harness these tools, and it makes them more productive, it makes them more creative, it makes them more efficient. And even us, as mature professionals, we need to adapt. So a quick poll. How many of you guys use or have used ChatGPT? Show of hands. Okay, great. So a fair number. All right. Now keep your hands up for a sec. How many of you have used Perplexity? Put your hand down if you... Okay, see? All right, a bunch. Well, I guess still a few. I know I was lucky. The cameraman we were rehearsing had his hand up the entire time. And how many people use Midjourney? Heard of Midjourney? Okay, a couple as well. Runway? All right. The point is this. We need to learn how to use these tools. More and more people are using them, and they can help us do our job better. And if you're not using them, well, just if you weren't one of the people that put up your hands, think about all the people that are, and you don't want to fall behind. Now, here's the good news. AI is just a tool, like a spatula, a hammer, a spreadsheet, or whatever else. It still can't replace what we do yet. If somebody uses ChatGPT and just thinks, oh, that's going to solve the world's problems, it's going to do everything for us, they're wrong. If I was to write into ChatGPT last night, write me a keynote address for a special event conference, okay, it wouldn't be very good. You know, they get a few of the points, et cetera, but you could tell, because ChatGPT, it won't replace what we do, but it will make it easier and more efficient to do our jobs. And for those of you wondering, I did use AI tools, not necessarily to write what I'm doing today, but to structure, formulate, and organize. And these are still my ideas, they're my words, but using these tools, it probably saved me about 25% of the time it would normally take to do this, especially the starting points, et cetera. And it probably improved aspects of the keynote by the same amount. So if you think about that, that's 25% more efficient and 25% better. If there's something that I could buy today for my business that would do that, I would do it in a heartbeat. And by the way, for those of you who might not be super into technology or might be a little bit more reticent about it, it's not just AI tools. It's features in all the programs and all the things that we already use, the software we already use. So Excel, Photoshop. You know, anybody who uses those, now there's tons of AI tools that are built into it. People are starting to use Photoshop who never used it before because it has AI. So these are things that we can do. And so when it comes to AI, just to end on that one, my advice to everybody is spend 15, 20, 30 minutes a month. 15, 20 minutes a week if you can. Just spend some time learning more about these tools and which ones can help make your job easier and help you do your job better. Okay, next one, another hot button issue. This is the next opportunity and challenge that we have is sustainability and plant-based products. So I'm not going to ask by a show of hands who cares about the environment, because given where we are today, I would hope that everybody would put their hands up, and in general, everybody would put their hands up. We can't not care about it. Right? We have to, now everybody understands the challenges we have ahead of us. Well, I think it's kind of poignant that we're here, and the reason I mention it as one of the 3 opportunities and challenges and trends, not trend, opportunity and challenge, is because Evergreen is a perfect shining example of a successful business that was able to thrive and continues to thrive while still keeping its sustainability mandate as a top priority. I mean, that's huge. They're proof that it can be done. And even though it's a hot button issue, and I know we're all doing probably better than we used to, we can still do better. On the catering front, it's been challenging. For any of the caterers in the room, we know that it would be fantastic if we could, only use compostable products, if we could reduce and eventually eliminate completely our reliance on bottled water and source only organic or plant-based products or locally sourced products. Well, it's difficult because the cost of these things were always far higher than their non-sustainable alternatives. But the fact is, it's our job to keep pushing, to educate our clients that maybe a couple dollars more spent on a menu, it's not coming to us. It's going to buy these kind of products, integrate these products into their menus, or for event planners, integrate them into your events to try and play our part in making the world a little bit of a better place. And it's our job, whether it's compostable products for catering or whatever, investing in systems, to try and find ways to do this. And luckily, we're seeing more products, we're seeing costs come down. It's getting easier to do that. So we really have to look at that and say we don't have a lot of excuses anymore. A big part of sustainability is also towards plant-based diets. So plant-based diets have been something that have been, obviously a trend for a number of years. But in the last couple of years, they're getting way, way stronger and better products are available. For us, I mean, it's not only good for the planet, but it's good for our bodies. And we're finally seeing a tipping point where access to ingredients for our chefs, and our executive chef, Chris Matthew, is here today, and he's one of the biggest advocates for it, is now able to find products that we don't have to sacrifice taste, we don't have to sacrifice quality, et cetera. We can create products that are plant-based, and flavor-wise, they're just as good as their alternatives. And frankly, I'm the ultimate example because anybody who knows me, I'll admit, I love a Wendy's burger, a double cheeseburger, more than, and I'm supposed to be in high-end food, but I love my double cheeseburgers, right? So, but I'm changing. And Jackie, who's with us today, who I've worked with for, I think, 25 years, more than 25 years, she is one, she'll testify to the fact that chances are if it's green, Sebastien doesn't eat it. That was the truth. I just didn't eat it. I didn't like vegetables. But now I'm changing. I'm eating more plant-based. I'm eating more gluten-free. And why? Because I can find products that I actually enjoy. Well, before I couldn't. So if I can do it, and if our company can do it, it means that our clients are going to want it. It means that our clients are going to demand it from us, and we have to do a better job of it. At Entertainment, I'll give you one more example. We use only gluten-free, or not only, but most of our pastas are gluten-free pastas, right? Well, we do it because we have great products we can get nowadays, and honestly, it's a smart choice. Now, instead of having a station that has 2 options on it, we just have gluten-free, and everybody loves it. Those are the ways that we can do a little bit of a better job. So we don't have any excuses anymore. Our clients understand it, the needs for sustainability. Our suppliers understand it. The products are out there. Now it's our job to figure out how we can do better. The last or third, trend, challenge, opportunity that I want to talk about is training and collaboration. So nobody understands better than me that with our busy schedules, our busy lives, that it's really hard to put time into training, whether it's new team members or employees, whether it's people that have been with us for years. But you know that 25% of the time that I saved you earlier, like 15 minutes ago? Well, this is where you use it up. In training your people. Put that to use in making people better. How can they adopt new tools like the AI ones that I spoke about? Or frankly, basic items. How do they help them learn how to manage costs? Let them maybe just shadow you in an event or sit in on a client presentation to learn from you. That sort of training, whether it's formal or not, is going to be really important. It's important for 2 reasons. First of all, because it's going to make every one of our companies more competitive. And number 2, because with the younger generation of people coming into this industry, they demand it. They strive for always learning, and we have to give that to them. If our company doesn't, somebody else will. We want to be more efficient. We want our people to be motivated. We want them to learn. And in any format that we do it, it still comes back to what I talked about before, which is sharing our experience with the people that are coming next, with the younger generation. Lastly, as part of that same thing, I want to talk about collaboration. So training and collaboration kind of go hand in hand. I personally think we should be embarrassed in Canada about how our lack of collaboration. Now, as teams, we collaborate great. We get together, we talk about ideas, we work on how to be better and more competitive. But actually, as an industry, I don't think we collaborate enough. 20 years ago, over 20 years ago, Danielle Megley from Danielle and Danielle, who's now retired, invited me to a caterer's meeting. He used to do these 3 or 4 times a year. And I was a new caterer. Like, why invite me? I was his competition. I was young and trying to sort of carve out my slice of the business. But he invited me to this. And at that meeting, people were sharing ideas. We were talking about the challenges, et cetera. Meetings didn't last. Like, eventually, just people stopped going. People came to the meeting. Some people contributed. Some people just took notes and went back and used it to be more competitive. Well, we have to get past that. We can't be insular and protective. And I was talking to Chad from ESP the other day, and him and I were, he's about my age, has been in the industry for as long as I have, and we were talking about how we need more collaboration. Like the ideas that I'm sharing with you today, if there's other caterers in the room, if there's event planners, like maybe we're competing over some of the same business, but please use the same tools we're using. Try and be more plant-based. Try and be more, focus on compostables, because it's going to make all of us better. It's going to make Canada more competitive on a global scale, and it's going to help us do our jobs better and deliver a better product to our clients. So at the end of the day, the challenge I have for all of you, for myself, for my team, is to embrace and view all these opportunities I've talked about. Other challenges, there we go, in the event world. And it's also to embrace these changes, and really see what you can do with them, how you can make a difference. It's also a call to action, to collaborate, to share knowledge and support each other in navigating the industry, because we have to do that. We have to do that to make ourselves more competitive as a country, and there's lots of business to go around. It's not going to hurt us, it's going to help us. So finally, I've been doing this for 25 years. This picture is 19 years old from the Canadian Special Event Awards, CES. I look like I'm like 15. I'm wearing a boa. I don't know where that came from. It was probably a few vodka sodas. It seemed like a good idea. Accepting an award 19 years ago. And one thing about this business, I could not have done this, and I could not be in this business if it wasn't for the support of my family. I have an amazing wife of 29 years, Sheila. Many of you in the room know her. And I have 2 fantastic sons who I always told them, find something you love, turn it into a career. And that's what I've done, and I hope the rest of you feel the same way. So ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for indulging me for the last 25 minutes and 17 seconds. And I look forward to seeing all of you tonight at the kickoff party at the Pearl. Thank you very much.